Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for our first webinar of 2022. My name is Aisling and I'm the Online Content Coordinator here at Relationships Australia WA. This webinar has been brought to you from our West Leederville offices in Western Australia. With Valentine's Day just around the corner, we are delighted to present our lunchtime webinar titled How to Keep the Spark Alive. We would like to begin by acknowledging the Noongar people as the original custodians of the land on which we are presenting today, and pay our respects to their elders, past, present and future. I extend that respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here with us today. Today, our presenters, Fiona and Jade, will discuss the key stages in our relationships, signs to watch for when the spark begins to fade, and how to keep the relationship fresh in ways you both enjoy and stay connected. Please note, the information discussed in this webinar is general in nature and does not take into account specific personal situations or circumstances you may be currently experiencing. You should consider whether the information is appropriate for your needs, and where appropriate, seek professional advice. If you or someone you know is experiencing a crisis situation, please contact Lifeline on 13 11 14 or emergency services on 000. But without further ado, I'd like you to meet our presenters today, Fiona and Jade. Just joining us on the screen. Hi, Jade. Hi, Fiona. How are you today?
Hello, Aisling. Hello, everyone. Yeah, going well. Thank you.
Wonderful. We've got Jade on audio. We're just waiting for a video to start. I'm sure she's not too far.
Having some technical issues.
Hi,
Hi, guys. I'm here.
Welcome. I'm going to let you guys get started now. We hope you all enjoyed today's webinar, and please post any questions you might have into our chat box and we'll do our best to answer them. Thank you and enjoy. I'll pass over to Fiona and Jade.
Hello, everyone. Lovely to be here with you today. Thank you very much, Aisling. And yeah, Jade and I are excited to share this time with you today, talking about relationships. With Valentine's Day coming up very soon, it's often a time of year where we do start to wonder how a relationship is going, or wondering, what we can do just to make it feel exciting. So we're happy to share that with you today. I have been working at Relationships Australia for nearly 10 years and really enjoy working with couples and individuals, just helping them understand themselves better and understanding their relationships better as well. And we do hope that some of the things we share with you today give you some kind of new insights and some new ideas.
Hi, guys. Welcome to the webinar. I'm Jade. I also work as a counsellor at Relationships Australia in West Leederville. I predominantly work with couples and individuals, occasionally work with families as well and children. I really enjoy the work and like supporting people to make positive changes. So yeah, and I'm looking forward to this webinar. So thanks for joining us.
Great. So let's get started, and I'll hand over to Jade to talk about that exciting part at the beginning of the relationship. Thanks, Jade.
Okay, thanks, Fiona. So I think it's relevant for us to really discuss what happens in the beginning of a relationship, considering this webinar is about keeping the spark alive. And in the beginning of the relationship, commonly referred to as the honeymoon period, the spark is very much alive, and we don't really have to do anything to create any spark because it's just naturally there, and it's well and truly alive. So there's a lot happening at this time in our hearts and in our minds, often where we feel elated and passionate, and we have strong feelings for our new love interest. We can be really preoccupied with thinking about them, having dreams of the future that we want to have with them. And it's a really exciting time. There's mystery, there's discovery of each other. It can feel all-consuming, and we might have that person on our mind 24/7. So and often we feel like we've met the perfect match, and from here on in, life is going to be all kinds of wonderful. And we kind of have a glow about us, and so does life. And this is a time when partners are most able to overlook the stresses and strains that might usually interfere with the ideal fantasy that they're envisioning of the other. So we really are seeing things through that kind of loved up, sparky lens. And but sorry to burst the love bubble, guys, there's actually a a biological component to this part of the relationship as well. So a lot of what's occurring at this early stage in the relationship can be attributed to our brain circuitry. I think we might need the next slide, Fiona. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so as you can see here, so yeah, there's a lot of kind of the wiring in our brain, you know, our neurochemistry, we've got all kinds of neurotransmitters firing off, and yeah, it's exciting, but there is that kind of biological component to it. So I'm just going to talk from the late Dr. David Snarsh, who is was a relationship expert and author. He actually said that the initial madness and irrationality we feel in romantic love comes from the primitive emotional centers of our brain. So when we're in lust, you know, we have a whole range of neurotransmitters firing off and hormones running through our system. And we feel really attracted to that other person, you know, we're kind of magnetized to them. And the main sort of chemical, I guess, that our brain is emitting is dopamine. And dopamine is released from the reward center of our brains. So it's really the chemical, it's a feel-good chemical, and it's released when we do things that feel good. And we often, you know, it makes us kind of want more as well. So this explains why during this honeymoon phase, you know, we can't seem to get enough of each other. And there's often a strong physical component to the relationship as well. Whereas attachment, as you can see on the slide there, the last kind of phase, you know, that kind of happens when the honeymoon phase is dissipated a little bit, and when our brain chemicals stabilize, and we create a different kind of bond, which usually we feel more kind of established and more settled, and yeah, just more comfortable with each other. So, you know, and this process is like a really important part of getting to know each other. Another thing Dr. Snarsh says is that romantic love is time limited and doomed to fade. So I guess I just want to reiterate to you guys that it's actually really natural to be kind of moving through this phase into a more mature stage of relationship. Yeah, I think I'll hand over to you, Fiona.
Thank you, Jade. I mean, at this stage, our heads sometimes just feel like they're spinning and our feet barely touch the ground. So interesting to hear how much is kind of hormonal and maybe chemical in our bodies as well. And I'm wondering, just in terms of who's listening today, anyone like to just pop a quick hello or hi in the chat? It'd be great to hear from you. And also, actually, Jade and I are interested to know what this stage felt like for you. You know, is this ringing true as far as the giddy feel? You know, maybe you could just type in a couple of words. Great, some people, yeah, thank you. Nice.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Wondering if there's just a few kind of key words that you can remember how you felt at this early stage of attraction, where it does feel like you're on a kind of permanent honeymoon. So yeah, someone's saying it felt as light as a feather, that kind of floaty feel. It really is, yeah, quite something that we just don't feel in everyday life, really, isn't it? Hello, lots of people saying hello. Someone is saying they wanted to spend every waking moment with them. That's right. Jade was saying it feels like we just can't get enough of each other. Yeah, thanks everyone. Lovely to hear from you. And so I will also do a little bit of love bubble bursting as well, because what we do know is that romantic glow, however wonderful it feels and however much we want it to keep on going, doesn't really last forever. It doesn't always feel so easy, so fun and enjoyable and effortless, does it? You know, at the start, we maybe feel like we've got that perfect match. They agree with everything we say. They want to do everything we want to do. And wow, it happens every day too, maybe, or at least every week, and they're happy to see us. But then at some point, those rose-colored glasses or that love lens seems to kind of disappear, and we wonder where it's gone and where those sparks are, The kind of extraordinary and fun just starts getting replaced by the ordinary and routine. And you can see from this image, you know, these two people are just looking pretty fed up, aren't they? They're kind of feeling a bit irritated maybe by each other. And sometimes what we once found adorable doesn't feel so adorable anymore. And we start maybe noticing those differences between us and our partners, rather than feeling like we've got so much in common. We maybe start wondering, you know, what we both still do like. And this is quite a natural thing to happen. It's how we handle it that makes the difference. We might get upset when they disagree with us, or when they don't want to do something that we want to do. And it starts happening that we just kind of turn away from each other. We don't seek each other out so much. You know, this guy here is saying, oh, you know how busy I am. And it can feel like that sometimes, can't it, with life, whether it's work, looking after pets, children, parents, doing the gardening, making sure the washing's done and the groceries done. I mean, who's got time for romance with all of that kind of normal life happening? The dopamine love fog, you know, just goes somewhere, and the passion kind of changes, doesn't it? But there's hope. It doesn't mean that the connection isn't there anymore. It just means we're in a different kind of phase, and we need to think about it in a new kind of way. Getting through the daily chores is certainly not sexy, passionate, or fun for many people, but there are ways that we can kind of turn it around and make sure that our intimate relationships still do have a little bit of fun in that respect. And we're going to just show a little clip from a couples therapist, well known, I hope, couples therapist called Esther Perel. And this clip is a couple of minutes long, but just speaks really clearly about this kind of stage. So I'm just going to click over, and hopefully she'll come into focus. So we'll see you back in a couple of minutes.
So what sustains desire, and why is it so difficult? And at the heart of sustaining desire in a committed relationship, I think, is the reconciliation of two fundamental human needs. On the one hand, our need for security, for predictability, for safety, for dependability, for reliability, for permanence, all these anchoring, grounding experiences of our lives that we call home. But we also have an equally strong need, men and women, for adventure, for novelty, for mystery, for risk, for danger, for the unknown, for the unexpected, surprise, you get the gist, for journey, for travel. So reconciling our need for security and our need for adventure into one relationship, or what we today like to call a passionate marriage, used to be a contradiction in terms. Marriage was an economic institution in which you were given a partnership for life in terms of children and social status and succession and companionship. But now we want our partner to still give us all these things. But in addition, I want you to be my best friend and my trusted confidant and my passionate lover to boot, and we live twice as long. So we come to one person, and we basically are asking them to give us what once an entire village used to provide. Give me belonging, give me identity, give me continuity, but give me transcendence and mystery and all in one. Give me comfort, give me edge, give me novelty, give me familiarity, give me predictability, give me surprise. And we think it's a given, and toys and lingerie are going to save us.
Sorry, just pressed the stop button just a second too soon. So that last sentence, as far as Esther saying, and we think that toys and lingerie are going to save us from all of that. So there's a real kind of reality in that respect, isn't there, as far as what she's saying, that we can't expect the chemicals to keep firing non-stop. That'd be exhausting, really, wouldn't it? So I wonder, what can we do? Jade, are you happy to?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so yeah, after the honeymoon phase, it's really about making more of an intentional choice to focus on connection and the spark with our partners. And this is certainly something we can learn about and expand on. And it's something that once we begin to create it, it can actually become a normal part of the way that we relate to one another. So Dr. Snash spoke about the romantic love stories that people find most appealing are those when the characters consciously choose to freely express their desire for each other. So what he's really saying is that we need to create this time and space within ourselves first, in order to focus our desire on the other, or on our desire that we have for the other. And that translates into a skill, and it's actually quite a necessary skill really, for a relationship and for the spark to be maintained. So as you can see in this slide here, one person is kind of enjoying the outdoor setting, holding their partner's hand, going for a walk, and the other person looks quite preoccupied with things, potentially to-do lists, chores, other people to see, things to catch up on. And yeah, I chose this slide because if we're going to make a conscious effort to connect with our partner, it really requires for us to clear a space within ourselves to be present with them. So to bring our attention into the moment and to really be there fully. And it's quite hard to focus on the spark or the connection when we have a million other things occupying our minds. So if we're wanting to focus on igniting that spark again, it's crucial to make that time to commit to being with each other. So letting go of, the have-tos and the shoulds and that can often take over life, and allowing some space to be and to have fun together and enjoy each other. And look, if that isn't possible, it's about finding a time to make it possible. So let's check in actually with you guys that are our audience today. And I wonder if you could type a yes or no. Do you think that this is a choice that we can make to consciously connect? Yeah, got a few people typing yes. Yep, for sure. And do any of you guys have an example of how you might choose to get present and connect? You got any ideas about that, or do you already do that? Turn off the Wi-Fi, someone says. Date night? Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
And having some, talks and walks together. Someone after my own heart. I do love a good walk and a talk as well. And someone's meditating together. Yeah. And something as simple as just taking time to drink a cup of coffee together. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be expensive or, extraordinary. It can be really simple things.
Yeah, everyone's got some great ideas. Thank you. Lovely to hear all of those. Yeah, and that idea of connection, which is what we'll be talking a little bit as well. So that leave your phone somewhere else, someone is saying.
Yeah. Yes, the phone can be a distraction for sure.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. That's lovely to have your input on this, and great to get some of those ideas that are kind of already working for you, but sometimes kind of doing the same thing again and again might feel a little bit routine as well. Date night again, we've got to think of somewhere to go, or how much money can we afford. So let's talk a little bit next as far as what can we do as far as this spark is concerned. Because when we were first together, it felt like it just kind of happened really easily, as we've spoken before. And it felt like they knew us well and they could get it. But we have to do a bit of a reality check. I don't think every single one of us fell in love with the perfect mate, did we? That idea of a soulmate feels lovely. But we have to get real. I know I don't know everything that my partner might like, or every single moment in terms of what they need. So what we know is that communication is really important. And it's a common thing for us in the counselling room to hear couples who are saying, we just need help with our communication. We're not communicating well, and we kind of don't really understand why. It used to feel so easy between us. So what does this communication mean? I can tell you what it doesn't mean, and that's you haven't married or you're not in a relationship with a mind reader. So communication doesn't mean looking into their eyes and they'll know what you're thinking and you'll know what they're thinking. We really have to get quite obvious and conscious about it. So that idea of that Jade was already talking about is understanding yourself, you know, what it is that you feel loved with or how you like to connect is an important place to really start. And then being curious about your partners or whoever you're with, being curious about what they like and what lights their spark as well. And it might not be what it used to be. So that idea of being able to really have that curiosity, ask questions, find out, express that interest, and for it to be quite reciprocal is important as well. It kind of works both ways. You're noticing each other. And so we'll talk a little bit about the partner's love language, but just before that, you might notice that word show appreciation on here as well. Saying thank you doesn't sound a particularly sexy or fun thing to do, and it might not be as simple as that, but it's that idea of noticing the other person and showing appreciation for what they do that's really important. Because what we know from Gottman, Dr. Gottman, Doctors Julie and John Gottman have their kind of love lab or their institute in America and have done a lot of research on couples. And what they found was there's a magic ratio of 5 to 1. Now, this is 5 kind of positive or fun interactions to the ratio of 1, maybe a bit more serious or not so fun interaction. And I know myself in a day or week struggle sometimes to keep that kind of ratio, that kind of appreciation and understanding of the other one. What do you think, Jade? Does that 5 to 1 sound a bit like kind of hard work?
It does.
Sounds like quite a big number, doesn't it? So
Yeah,
if we can maybe, think of a few things that can make it a little bit easier. And that can include how you know each other and what kind of communication you have about how you feel loved. So this slide is a very simple looking one. Gary Chapman, back in the day in 1992, it's quite a long time ago, but there's still such a lot of truth to this, wrote a book called The 5 Love Languages. There's quite a few different versions now to relate with your children or with friends rather than intimate partners. But the message is still the same in terms of finding out how you feel loved and how your partner feels loved. So words, it could be spoken words, but it could also be written words. Just writing something, a little text in a day when you're thinking of them maybe, or a note they can find. Physical affection is such an important one, maybe at the start of the relationship where you want to spend so much time together and be together. But actually it can kind of change maybe into that casual kind of just a little touch as you're walking past, or that hug in the kitchen, the kissing hello and goodbye. Someone has written that message, you know, connecting when we first see each other after work. So that could include a hug as well as the hello. Acts of service. Now I'm going to make a subtle hint at the moment. That kind of acts of service is where we do something for someone. So it could be maybe cleaning the car for them, taking the rubbish out for them. Those kind of things can make such a difference in someone's day, and it can be a really simple thing, but important for that person. Time together, we've already had some ideas in terms of that kind of walking on the beach, maybe some time together like that, just kind of lazing around, daydreaming, turning off the screens and just really spending time and focusing on each other. Now, gifts can be an important one around Valentine's Day. There's lots of adverts at the moment for flowers, maybe chocolates, jewelry, that sort of thing. But actually a gift can be something quite simple, like making someone a playlist if you've got Spotify. Those kind of ones don't need to cost any money, but you're giving some thought and you're really trying to work out what that person might like. So lots of kind of food for thought there as well. And I'm wondering, maybe a few of you would like to give us some of your ideas as far as if any of that's ringing true for you before I hand over to Jade. Yeah, thanks, Jade.
Okay. So yeah, I think, you know, that notion of fun and playfulness and creation of intimacy is really important. So I've got a few ideas which you guys might like to take note of or just, you know, be inspired by. So, you know, taking time out to plan an outing, a special outing together, asking, you know, what do we want to try that we've never tried before? Starting a new interest, perhaps. You know, research shows that doing things you're not used to doing increases your adrenaline. So in the beginning of this webinar, we talked about the brain chemistry and the different sorts of neurotransmitters firing off and the good hormones and things. As much as that sort of naturally happens in the beginning, that's also something that we can kind of try to create through doing new things and, you know, laughing together. That's another thing that releases good, happy hormones in the brain. So we can kind of take more control of that, I suppose, in a way. So spending time together, doing something you both enjoy, having fun together, you know, surprise, like doing things that are a bit of a surprise, maybe filling a jar with ideas and picking one each week and doing that, being spontaneous. Having time apart is also a key thing because it allows you time to miss each other. And it's not just, you know, you go to work, I go to work, and we see each other later. It's actually, you know, doing things with other people, doing things alone, and then coming back to each other and, you know, having that appreciation, I suppose, for the time you do spend, you know, making it, yeah, I don't know, kind of, I think it's really healthy to miss each other. And, you know, trying to impress your partner with something they'll notice or appreciate. Having a relationship date. I think someone mentioned that in the chat before. So date night. You could even maybe reenact your first date that you had, or yeah, choose something completely new or a new place to explore together. Play games together, slowing down together. I think Fiona mentioned something about daydreaming and, you know, having a bit of a relaxed time on the couch, you know, not doing anything much. Making eye contact. You could even try doing eye gazing, which is an intimacy activity. You know, set aside 5 minutes and just gaze into each other's eyes. It can be quite kind of vulnerable, and it can deepen relationship. And kiss just because. Maybe pack, you know, a nice picnic and find a beautiful spot to enjoy your food. Go to the beach or a local park or even just your backyard. Yeah, so I wonder if maybe you guys could tell me if any of those ideas that you're hearing are things you might like to try, or if you can think about how you feel loved and connected with, and maybe pop a couple of words into the chat so we can see what this has prompted for you. And also make a note of it if there's anything that kind of sparked your interest. Maybe there's something new you'd like to try.
Yeah.
Someone said they like it when their husband does the dishes or vacuums without having to ask. Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah, that kind of idea of kind of really knowing.
So knowing how you like to show your love versus how your partner likes to receive. Yeah, so that's around the love languages. So actually knowing each other's love language, so you can kind of show that your loved one in the way that they like to receive it.
Yeah,
cooking me dinner. That's always good.
And the image that we've got showing here as well, my kids I'm sure will be laughing about it, because whenever the music comes on, it's like, oh, you know, I kind of get boogieing, but we don't go out to nightclubs, and you know, sometimes the restrictions at the moment with COVID might mean that we can't kind of have the fun nights out that we used to, or maybe things do feel a little bit you know, kind of riskier for some people. So finding a way to do that at home and still kind of reminisce and recreate the feeling of when we could do those kind of things, you know, play the music that you used to like rather than what they might play these days in the out and about. Good. Thanks everyone. Lovely to have your posts. So there's plenty of ideas here, but that idea of just some key things maybe to remember, because all of those specific ideas, you know, hopefully you were noting down a few as Jade was talking, but remembering those themes I think is important. So that idea of what Jade was talking about, how we can create those hormones that used to feel like they came so easily and just were there, we can actually make them still happen. Having some laughter actually does release endorphins, that feel-good hormone. So whether it's watching a funny show on TV or actually finding some ways of making each other laugh so that you're connecting in that kind of way, you know, can just reignite that spark quite nicely and make a connection whereby you're feeling as though you're really getting noticed by your partner and feeling as though they care about you. And obviously with Valentine's Day coming up, those words, you know, kind of romance and that idea of kissing or any kind of physical contact that you have that you both really enjoy and both feel as though you're fun, because sometimes the spark does get dimmer when the stresses occur in our life. We've got young kids who are quite demanding time-wise, who might not have much energy left after the work day. There might be a family member who's sick, or you might have a job where there's FIFO involved and you are apart for times. So keeping that kind of tantalizing feel as well, where you're anticipating that time together again, can really be a way of just kind of reigniting that spark and getting those feel-good hormones happening in a way that help you connect again how you used to. So thanks everyone for joining us today. It's been lovely to have your company, and we really hope that you've got a lot from the time that we've shared with you today. And I'll hand back to Ashley now just to finish up.
Hi, Fiona and Jade. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed that. It was a very informative and interesting webinar. So really appreciated your time. I know I certainly learned a few tips I'm going to take away with me, and I'm sure all of our viewers will appreciate the strategies to help us focus on what's important in our relationships and how to stay connected to our partner. So it's been so wonderful hearing your tips, your strategies, your knowledge. We really appreciate your time and expertise. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it today and I've enjoyed it. Thank you also to everyone who's joined us on our webinar today. We hope you found the information useful. Here at Relationships Australia WA, we run a number of education courses on a variety of topics around relationships and also offer counselling services. These services are available across WA as well as online, so please take a look at our website for more information about what is available in your area. You can visit our website at www.relationshipswa.org.au, our Facebook page at /Relationships Australia, or call us on 1300 364 277 to find out more about how we can support you. It's been a privilege to host today's lunchtime webinar. Thank you again, and we hope to see you at our next one.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.